Welcome to Coffee and Bonsai with Tom. Today we're going to be potting up my Frank Yee Cork Bark Dwarf Jade cuttings. That's quite a mouthful, but they're quite a wonderful tree. This is the second part of a video series. So the first part, I'll put a link in the video description here. You can see that. That's basically when I made these cuttings and then put them in water propagation, which is how I like to propagate them. And it's been just about 3 weeks now, and so we are going to see how these are doing. You can see a little preview spoiler, the green one in the middle there. Things are going well, and so I can tell you we are going to be potting these up. So let's take a look at this one on the left first. You can see it looks really healthy. I mean, the leaves are nice and thick. It's got new growth. I mean, and this is how I like to let them go. You'll see when you first put them in water, the leaves may shrivel a bit, then they grow roots, and then they just fill up nicely with water, and they just look really robust, and you get a lot of root growth, and that is the time to think about planting them. So let's see what we got here. I'll pull this one out, and look at those roots. I mean, that is quite a long root system. You can see it's a bit green from the algae. It's got lots of growth down low. That was actually underwater. Very interesting to me, but looking good. Let's put that aside and look at this one. Also fabulous. You can see the subdivisions on the roots there. It's really getting legs and going, and yeah, that will pot up quite nicely. So let me put this back in the jar, and we will see how the other ones did. It's a bit tough to get in there. It's kind of long. Boy, you can see a big hunk of algae on the side. I think I'm just going to trim this because that's too long to be potting anyway, so I'll just snip it off, make it easy to get it back into the jar. There we go. And put the second one in. And let's see what else we've got. You know, I think I'll just mention here too, I don't start initially with fertilizer, but I have like a micro amount of fertilizer in my water, and when I top these off, that's what I use. So I think that also accelerates this root growth as well, and which may be why I get it so quickly. Yeah, you can see this one was also done quite well. So let's pull it out and see what we got. Yeah, that's another winner. It's got a nice structure already as a little tree, and it's got some roots mostly on the right, but you can see up high there, we're also getting a lot of lots of roots to work with. So I think this will work out quite well. And this guy, I mean, it almost looks like an alien. Look at those roots. It's like an explosion of roots. Yeah, that is pretty wild. Yeah, I think that is some super strong growth, and that will work out very well. So let's check out the last Cork Bark Dwarf Jade vat and see what we've got. Pull this one out, and you can see it's got some fangs, not as much root growth as the other ones, but I think this is pretty typical. The larger the cutting, I found, the longer it takes, but you know, it is well on its way. Look at that. We've got lots of 6 prongs coming out. That'll give it a really nice root base, and I've already got like a little fat knoll on the bottom to deal with. So I think we'll put this one back and let it continue to grow. I mean, I can't imagine it'll take more than another week, and we'll be potting that one up as well. So yeah, all in all, I think that's a pretty good return for, you know, just around 3 weeks of patience. So we're going to go on a bit of a field trip down to the bonsai workshop to pot these up because I do a lot of pruning here in the plant room, but I mean, bonsai soil just gets everywhere, and so I like to do it in a confined space that I can easily clean and I just don't worry about. So we'll move down there and I'll be right back with you. So here we are in the bonsai workshop. You could say I brought the cuttings down, and what I like to do is just, bring out an assortment of pots. This is kind of the try on the shoes portion of the repotting, where you want to match the cutting to the right pot, so they somehow complement one another. And the best way I found to do that is to just sort of hold them in there and see what you think. So we'll start with this fine specimen here, and let's see, we could put them both in there, or we could put do singulars, give them lots of room to grow. Look at those roots. But let's just try a few out. This looks pretty good. I just don't know if I want to have a singular tree in there. Looks a little lost in this one. And let's see. I kind of like the purple, but again, a bit big. I found it's really good to have the roots a bit constrained. It's an interesting pot I got off Etsy from a guy in Alabama. Keep the roots constrained, and it seems like the trees really like it. It helps with overwatering, and I think it helps to thicken up the trunks. Yeah, I still think it's lost in there. Because I don't know if the tree, I don't know the science of it, but I think once it fills the pot, and can't grow too many more roots, it starts packing on trunk thickness. Yeah, I don't know if this one almost seems too small. So there's not a lot of room in there. I know I have my baby blue video. You can see you really have to watch that pot, and this one is also too big. So let's put this one back, and we may end up putting both of those in one pot, but let's try some other ones here. This is kind of a nice size. It's already got multiple trunks. I think it's kind of swimming in that one, although that would work. This pot, I think, is just too big. And, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think I like that. I think that'll work out quite well. It's kind of an interesting pot, and it's kind of an interesting kind of very small tree. Yeah, I think that works really well. This one just too big. So yeah, I think that decision's made, and we'll check out some others. So let's look at this one. I really like this cutting. I mean, it's got a lot of roots. It's got a few trunks up there, and it looks just healthy. That could work. I think it seems a bit tall. And I think I have, let's try this green pot. That would work as well. I think that would be fine. Actually, I made that pot in one of my pot making videos. You can check that out. Let's try this one. Yeah, when you see it, you see it. I think this pot is just perfect for this little tree. Let me look at it a little bit more. I've done a few trees in this pot, and I'll put a link to these pots. These are really inexpensive pots I got off of Amazon. You get a set of them, and they're great, and so I'll put a link there and check them out. I do like this, but it does seem a little tall. I could sort of change the angle. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like that other pot better. Mabel's a little upset. I think she's strongly disagreeing with this purple pot as well. Yeah, I think I just much prefer this one on the left, this little pot. Purple one's just a little too big, so we'll go with that one. I think it's perfect size, and trees really seem to like growing in these little pots. So we got 2 down, and now I need to decide what to do with these 2. And I feel like I think I'm going to plant them together, kind of in this orientation. I'm not sure if this pot seems a little big, but let's see. Let's have another look at this one. I think this might work. Yeah, I think that's good. And then you'll have 2 trees growing in there, and they can fill this thing up, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and I will put screens and wires in these pots, and I will be back in just a moment. So here we go. I've got screens and wires in here. I like to put wires in there just so I make sure this little tree doesn't lose a tug of war with a squirrel or a bird or something. You can see it's just, kind of a wire up from the bottom, and I kind of just gently wrap the tree in there until it develops roots, and then take it off. So I've got 1 in each of these, just how I like to do it. And we will go ahead and pot these up. I'm just mixing up a little special ingredient soil here. I'm basically using my kind of standard small grit mix and adding a little more organics in because these are small pots and I don't have to water it all the time. So let's go ahead and I'm going to plant that one first. No, I think we'll go and do this one first because I really like this pot. And I think this will work out pretty nicely. This thing already has a lot of growth. And we'll just put a little soil in and wire it in. Gently, kind of work the soil in a little bit, not too much. There's not a whole lot of roots here. And we'll have another corker on the way. So as I'm putting this tree in here, I want to talk a little bit about water propagation. Most of the year I have my trees, I'm working on them inside, and water propagation is fabulous for indoors because it just works really well. Now, in the summertime, if I'm outdoors, I just stick them in some actual sort of potting soil and ignore them, and they just take off. But I feel you really can't beat it in the wintertime, and part of the reason is, it's a great way to clone trees. I'll just put some soil in here. And it's reliable. And you can constantly see what's happening, right? You see from day 1, maybe in 2 days you see little nubs forming, and then you see little root hairs. And it's just a constant, forward progression, which, is nice to see. And, kind of gives you confidence that it's working. So this one looks pretty good. I think snip off the wire, neaten it up a little bit. Of course, I'll water these in later on and tamp this in a little bit. Maybe a little more soil just to make sure it stays in there. But yeah, I think, water propagation is sort of confidence inspiring, and you can kind of pull it out, check the roots, put it back in the water. You can pot it up whenever you want. And so, I find it just a really great way to clone trees. It really is. It's a really nice thing to do, and it's pretty amazing when you first do it how well it works. So I think this one is pretty much potted up. Let's bring in let's see. Let's do this guy next. I kind of like this little tree. That little tree that we're going to put in here. It sort of looks like an alien from I don't know, one of those 50s sci-fi movies where they have the tall legs. I can't recall what it's called at the moment, but we'll put a little soil in there, and we'll get this one going. I should probably trim the roots a little, but I'm just going to let it go wild. I will kind of splay them out so they sort of start growing horizontally. But, one thing I've always found with it, especially with this water propagation, is you just get excellent roots. And I really do think they come out better than when you do it in soil. And I'm not exactly sure why. But they really, you really get a nice spread and lots of options. So just slowly work the soil in a little bit. Gently. I'm just using a kind of a small, well, I'm using my spoon, but you can use a chopstick or whatever you've got and just kind of gently put it in there. And I'll wire it in just to hold this tree securely in the pot. And we are coming down into finishing off this little fella. Put a little more soil in. And, I find that a very fine-grained soil works really well for these. It can be hard to find. I'll probably do a video in the future. I found a few sources that I really like. You can always make your own, but it can be hard to get the right ingredient sizes, so you wind up with something that works well with these small trees. So I think that's looking pretty good. Let's look at the final tree now. Last but not least, and I think we're going to put these together. I think that'll work out quite well. Both have great roots. This is a beautiful little Japanese pot, and I can't really remember where I got it at this point. But it works well, and I find especially these tall small pots are great because you can just hit them with water. You're not going to overwater it, and I don't know. I guess it's because of the depth. They seem to hold up to the heat a little bit better when they're outside in the sun. But yeah, these deep small pots work out quite well. So I'm going to put these in as sort of a like a twin trunk, I think. Kind of get them kind of close together, and maybe they'll stay together. Maybe I'll separate them out eventually, but we'll start this way. So I'm going to try to, it's a little tricky sometimes, put two in, and so I'm trying to get the roots going how I want them. And, sometimes you have to be a bit of a contortionist with your fingers and just kind of hold these in here. I mean, I guess I should have put two wires in here. But we'll get it started. These are small trees, and I really just want to get it growing, and we can always kind of fine-tune it. After they've established roots, you can still pretty easily move them around, or when we repot them. So the important thing now is to just get them going again. I got lots of time to work on these. So I'll just put the soil in, and sometimes it's easier just to hold it, dump the soil in, fine-tune it, and then kind of wiggle it in to sort of firm them up. Everyone has their own technique, but I think that looks pretty good. I can get it to stay there, and I'll just wire this one in. I can change the angle if I want to, and again, just kind of loose. Definitely don't want to constrict this thing. Let me work this in a little bit more. I kind of want this one on the right up a little higher. Maybe I can find a little stone to hold it up. Tamp it a bit. That'll probably do the trick. The chopstick, it's a little more square. Yeah, I can feel it kind of compacting. I think that will hold it in. Yeah, that looks fabulous. Put a little more soil in since we created some space. And I think this one is pretty much done. Very nice. So let's bring them all in. Let me clean this off, and we'll bring them all in, and we will do a victory lap, and that will be a wrap. So let's take a final look at these cork barks that we're starting off here. I kind of think about these deep in the future when they're much bigger and they're nice and corky, like the parent plant. This one is actually quite cute. I think, sometimes it surprises you. They come out a little nicer than you thought. And that one also worked out quite well. And then we have this little alien. And there they are. Yeah, that's just about a wrap. We will take a victory lap here, but I want to leave you with this parting thought. I really think these cork bark, these Frank Yee cork bark dwarf jades are just incredible. I mean, the bark's amazing. They're fabulous growers. Just an all-around great variety, and I really think we should spread the cork bark love and try to get these into the hands of more and more people. And I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but something with the channel. I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow some of these cuttings and give them away in some way. So look forward to that. Maybe even one of these. We'll let them get a little stronger so they can travel more readily. But I will definitely be thinking about that and look forward to that coming soon. But until then, I want to thank you for spending time with me, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon.